Hello everybody and welcome to another prop firm trading review spotlight. And today we're going to review FTMO. Now, as if you have been in the prop firm industry for a couple of years, you probably know that FTMO is the biggest prop firm there is today, at least by traffic and clients. But the question is, before, like if you were to ask me a couple of years back, FTMO would definitely be the biggest prop firm there is. It's the big dog. It's the most reliable prop firm that everybody went through. They know that it will pay out. No one really had any problem with them. The question is though, in the last couple of years, the last 1 or 2 years, the prop firm industry has really changed, and the trading prop firm industry has really, I would say, gone through a metamorphosis where they have evolved to a more mature market, okay? And so the question remains, is FTMO still attractive for newly incomers to the prop firm trading industry, okay? And the question, and the answer to that question used to be 100% yes, but in today's review, I'm gonna go through if that's still the case or not. And by the end of this review, I'm gonna go through some controversial things that have happened with FTMO that you really want to stick out to listen to, okay? Now a little bit about myself. I have been trading prop firms for the last 4 to 5 years. I have literally seen it all in the prop firm industries. I've been in the prop firm space ever since it was a pretty new concept. There was like FTMO there, and there was like the funded trading strategy. There was MyForex funds. There was even what were they called? I think they're called FundedNext. They were still at the beginning back then. So I have been at the beginning of the prop firm space, and I've seen the boom and I've seen the bust, and now the prop firm industry is evolving to a more mature market. And the question is, who is the leader today? Is it FTMO? Is it FundedNext? Is it Funding Pips? Is it other prop firms? That's what I'm planning to do with my channel, and I'm going to start with FTMO, which used to be the big dog. Okay. So in today's agenda, we're going through the overview of FTMO, the funding model, the trading rules, the pros versus the cons, the event and weekend restrictions, and payouts, hidden rules, and payout denials. Okay, now the payout denials section, I really didn't, if you told me about payout denials in FTMO back in the day, I would not believe you if you told me that happened. But in recent couple of months, or even last year or so, there has been some controversial things happening with FTMO. So you really want to stay until the end of this video to see what's actually happening right now with FTMO. Okay, so let's begin. If you look at the trading rules, the pros is that FTMO has an indefinite evaluation window, so you don't have any restrictions on the time limitations. You don't have to finish the challenge within a week or two or a month or two. You actually have an indefinite window, which is actually good. That's something that we want. And the minimum trades per day, minimum trades total is 4 minimum trading days. The leverage is 1 to 100, and this is one of the perks with FTMO, is that you get your challenge fee refunded. Okay, that's something that actually a lot of prop firms these days are backing away from. It used to be the default a couple years back, but today this is not the default actually, and it's not always the case that you will get your first payment refunded once you get your first payout. Okay. And they also allow some EAs during special restrictions. You actually have to get them approved by them, but they do allow EAs, but it's a more cumbersome approach for all the algo traders out there. Okay, now the cons. The 5 and the 10% caps are hard stops, and they really don't play around this. If you deviate by just 0.01%, you will get breached. Okay. And the reset, the daily drawdown reset, is in Prague time midnight, something that no other prop firm does. Okay, they'll go by Prague time. That's because FTMO is founded in Czechoslovakia. Okay, so that's where they go from, Prague. So you really need to pay attention to the timings here, because if you're used to another prop firm, okay, the timings will differ. And so if you have the previous day you have traded and you have like minus 4% drawdown, and you don't pay attention to this Prague midnight time zone, you will get smoked. Okay, so pay real attention if you're trading with FTMO and look at the time zones. Okay. Now another thing with FTMO is that you can choose to have swing trading option. The only cons with this is that it will give you 30 to 1 leverage as opposed to 1 to 100 leverage. Okay, so that's the pros and the cons at a glance. At a summary, I wouldn't say that they are above average. They're actually dead average, and in some instances below average. So FTMO is not the big dog when it comes to trading rules anymore. They used to be that, not today though. They're laggards in this scenario. There are lots of other prop firms that provide much better trading conditions, and more on that in future videos. But for now, let's stick to FTMO. Okay, let's look at news trading. Before, a couple years back, news trading used to be allowed. Okay, but because that was exploited a lot of prop firms had to adapt. Okay, and so FTMO is one of the prop firms that allows you to trade in the news, but you cannot place any trades 2 minutes before or 2 minutes after high impact news. Okay, so you really need to pay attention to that. Okay, and if we look at the actual implementation of this rule, it's not counted as a soft breach. If you actually breach this rule, they will breach your entire account, and there is not a lot you can do about that. Okay, so pay real close attention to that rule. Okay, this is something that a lot of traders fall with when they go with FTMO or other prop firms that are not lenient towards news trading rules. Okay, so pay real close attention to this rule. Now this of course does not apply if you have a swing account. If you have a swing account, you can trade the news, but again, the leverage is much less than the normal account. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're trading the news with FTMO. Okay, now let's go to the most important aspect of prop firm trading: payouts and hidden rules. Does FTMO have any payouts or hidden rules? Now again, if you would have asked me 2 or 3 years ago, I would say no. FTMO is as good as they come. They're honest. They don't have any. They don't do any shenanigans behind the curtains. If you have a payout, they will pay you out, even if the payout is $15,000, $20,000, and some people back in the day actually made $100,000 per payout. I mean, just go to the archives of the YouTube videos for FTMO. There was people who made these kind of money. Now in recent years though, because of the prop firm bust that happened 2 years ago, a lot of prop firms had to adapt, and one of them is FTMO. So what is the news, or what is the controversial things that people have been saying about FTMO in the last couple of months? Well, from my personal experience, it is that if you start making money, if you start scoring payout after payout after payout, ultimately FTMO will enforce a so-called risk review inquiry. Now what does that mean? That means that they will look at your strategy. Okay, they will see your strategy. Now whatever strategy you're trading, it could be a swing trading strategy, it could be a scalping trading strategy, it could be whatever type of strategy that you're trading, and they can tell you, they might not always tell you this, but they can tell you, okay, listen, we don't really like how aggressive your strategy is, so we're going to limit your risk per trade to 1% to 1.5% per trade. This to me is the nightmare scenario every prop firm trader can go through. Why is that? Because trading is hard as it is from the get-go. Okay? Now if you actually pass the challenge phase and you pass the verification phase, the last thing you want is for any arbitrary rules to come after that and hinder your trading. You don't want the prop firm to impose any arbitrary restrictions to make your trading even harder. Okay? So if they come and tell you, listen, We like you and we want to have you as a funded trader, but listen, you can't risk more than 1% per trade. That's really going to affect a lot of traders. And I personally know a couple of people who have been personally affected by this. So I can confirm the rumors, okay? There's a lot of Reddit posts out there. There are a lot of Trustpilot reviews out there that mention this, okay? And I can confirm they are true. Now, it does not happen to all traders, but it has happened to some traders, okay? So what does this effectively mean? This means that if you trade at FTMO, okay, you manage to pass the challenge phase, you manage to pass the verification phase, and you become a funded trader. And because you're skilled in the trading strategy that you have, you score multiple payouts. All good until now. But FTMO reserves the right to label your strategy as gambling, okay? And then they will cap the maximum risk you can take per trade to 1%. This to me is a horrible, horrible thing that a prop firm can do. And I need you to watch out for this. If this does not fit your overall trading strategy, you really need to be observant of this, okay? Because this really can come and bite you in the behind, okay? So really pay attention to this, okay? Now, with that being said, do I discourage people from trading with FTMO? Not necessarily, because FTMO does pay out, okay? They do pay out in the first couple of payouts at least, okay? But unfortunately, they have a tendency, or at least in the recent times, to restrict traders to maximum 1% per trade, which is really, that's annoying. Okay? I mean, as I mentioned, trading is hard as it is. The last thing we want is for a prop firm to come and, impose additional arbitrary restrictions on us. That's the last thing we want. Okay? That really is the last thing we want. Okay? So if you're okay with that, go ahead and trade with FTMO. If not, there's a lot of new prop firms, or even a couple of years old prop firms, that have, in my opinion, much better trading rules, much better trading conditions than FTMO. Okay, as I said, the prop firm space as a whole is growing by the day. Okay, and there's more and more maturing companies that offer much better trading rules compared to what FTMO used to offer a couple of years back. Okay, and I will personally review those, and I will provide you my personal experience with all of those prop firms and tell you whether or not these prop firms are a good choice to go with, or if you should skip them completely. When it comes to FTMO, my conclusion is a bit torn, okay? Because they do pay out, but they do provide you more annoyance than it should have, which is the maximum 1% risk per trade if you become a profitable trader. Okay, so I will leave it to you to decide whether this is okay for you or this is not okay for you. Okay, but you have the information. I provided you my personal experience and opinion on this, and you are free to make your own decisions. But at least make it an informed decision. At least make it an informed decision, because when you pass a trading challenge, it takes a lot of time, dedication, and passion to do that. And less than 1% actually become funded. So you at least deserve to know that if you trade with FTMO, there is a risk that they will cap your trading to maximum 1% per trade indefinitely. Okay, so always keep that in mind. Okay, so with that being said, if you have stuck around until now, please like this video and consider subscribing so you get more notifications in the future about other prop firms that I will be reviewing. Okay, and in each review I'll give my personal experience on those, and I'll provide you with some insights that I have personally gained. Okay, with that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.